Welcome back to Meet the Museum. I'm Carol Ross, a docent with the Rabbi Ronald and Judy Shapiro Museum of Judaica at Congregation Shalom. In last month's episode, we explored the symbols of peace in Joseph Freebert's magnificent mural. Freebert's daughter Susan has told us that her father was most certainly influenced by the destruction of European Jews during the Holocaust when he painted this tribute to peace on our wall. Other post-World War II American Jewish artists also celebrated peace after the war. Works by Irving Amin, Ira Moskowitz, and Ghayam Gross are displayed in the same Ostach Foyer Saperstein Gallery area of the museum as the mural. As the signage in this area indicates, quote, their nostalgic renderings of observant Jews helped war-weary audiences recall the joys and not simply the traumas of living one's faith, end quote. Irving Amin's signed proof for an etching entitled Scroll hangs directly across from the Freebert mural. An artist's proof can be better quality than the limited edition prints since the proof is the first copy made. Artists often use proofs to make changes in the subsequent prints, but they may put successful ones, such as ours, aside to sell separately. Amin was born in 1918 in New York and served in the United States Armed Forces during World War II from 1942 to 45. In Scroll, Amin pays tribute to a bearded scholar, an observant Jewish man with a talit covering his head, holding a sacred scroll in his hands. Here, the artist demonstrates his reverence for the people of the book. His art is included in most major U.S. art museums, including the Museum of Modern Art, the Met, the National Gallery of Art, and the Skirball. He also has works displayed in international museums such as the Victoria and Albert in London. Around the corner from Amin's scroll, right outside the entrance to the Kesselman Chapel, we find more artist proofs, these by post-World War II American Jewish artist Ira Moskowitz. Moskowitz was born in Poland in 1912, descended from a long line of rabbis, and he immigrated to the United States in 1927. Like Amin, he pays tribute to European Jewish communities. His work draws viewers into the scene. In this first work, we can see scholars studying sacred texts. In our second Moskowitz print, we see bearded Jews wearing tefillin and carrying the Torah. Themes of ritual like these were common in his work. Moskowitz was a close friend of author Isaac Bashevis Singer and illustrated two of Singer's works titled The Hasidim. Interestingly, Sacred Heart Seminary in Franklin, Wisconsin has 12 Moskowitz prints like ours displayed in the hallway that leads to the lunchroom there. The next American Jewish post-war artist in this area is Ghayam Gross. Gross was born in 1904 in Austria-Hungary. His family fled World War I Russian armies, and he finally emigrated to the U.S. in 1921. During the Second World War, Gross was a WPA artist and sculptor employed by the Roosevelt administration's New Deal work program during the Great Depression. When he received news that his brother, sister, brother-in-law, niece, and nephew had been killed in Europe by the Nazis, he embraced his Jewish heritage in his work. In our print entitled Ezra, we see his tribute to the importance of teaching and learning in Judaism with his depiction of the biblical prophet Ezra. Who was Ezra? In 586 BCE, Jews were expelled from the land of Israel by the conquering king of Babylon. Ezra and prophet Nehemiah taught the Jews in exile during this Babylonian captivity. In 538 BCE, they then led 40,000 Jews back to Israel, many of them a new generation. Back in Israel after the exile, Ezra was the first to teach this new generation Torah. He was a deeply religious man who loved the sacred writings. He traced his ancestry back to Aaron, the high priest. In our print, we can see Ezra, the large figure at the top holding a scroll with his name superimposed in the middle, busy in his passion of pursuing and transmitting Jewish learning to other Jewish scholars on the right, and at the bottom to representations of the modern generation of Jews, parents passing on the tradition to their children, Lador Vador. Thank you for joining us today. Please join me next month for a new episode of Meet the Museum, when we will explore a new gallery in the museum.